people at SAISD. One has been with us for a while, Major Regina Harris, who is over the JROTC program at Lakeview.
Yes, ma'am.
And we have a new leader at the Central JROTC, Major Christopher Carney. And we welcome you. You are going to love working with Major Harris and being part of our community here. I want our community to know a little bit more than they probably do about your program. They know that how important the military is and Goodfellow is to me and to our district, and the 660 children of active duty servicemen and women at Goodfellow. But what you are doing, between the two groups, we have in excess of 300 students in your programs, 150 approximately in both of your programs, and in my opinion, changes lives for the best. So, Major Harris, you've been doing this for a while out at Lakeview, and I have testimonies of your students who tell me how you have refused to let them fail and what an impact you have made on them. And Major Carney, this time next year we're going to hear the same stories, I'm confident, from you. Why on earth, upon retirement, after you serving our country for so many years, have you both chosen to stay in a program that is military and working with young people? You have had to cross this in the last few months when you made the decision.
Well, I saw what the program did with my son. I had a son who did 3 years of JROTC in high school, and then he did 4 in college. So he's a lieutenant now, and I know all the kids that he hung out with, and they were all great kids. I don't know if you can attribute it all to the JROTC program, but I sure know that helped, along with having great parents. But the reason I came over to it is I just see that our young kids are our future leaders. They're the ones who are going to go out there when we retire, and make sure that we're taken care of, that the nation's taken care of. I know the Air Force is instrumental in that, as are all the other armed services. Obviously, I have a love for the Air Force. 26 and a half years, and now I'm retired and still wearing uniforms. So it says I like it. I know the kids are going to like it. I know it's great for them. I know it instills discipline. It instills teamwork. It allows kids to be able to step out and do more than they would normally be able to do.
And now, this is how many years you've been working with JROTC, Regina?
Working with JROTC here in San Angelo, 16.
Wow. I was going to say 17, so I was close.
Yeah, this might be the beginning of my 17th year.
Okay.
Ooh.
You have taken freshmen, 14-year-olds who are thinking about other things and have turned them into young ladies and young gentlemen. And when I have asked at both of your high schools how many of you desire to be a part of the military as a career, the numbers of the juniors and seniors are high, whether they go immediately upon graduation or have a year delay or whatever. That is exciting to me, and it's exciting to me that you keep young people for quite a while. Certainly after their freshman year, there's some young people that drop out for various reasons, but you have a large number that graduate from both of your programs.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, those young people are doing things that not many of our other programs in a high school are doing. Hundreds, several thousand hours of community service. that is an amazing thing, giving them a taste of giving back to when it's hot and sweaty.
We call it people, programs, and money because as a junior or a senior, you get to move into the leadership and management aspect of the program. So we're going to give you people to help you get your goals accomplished. We're going to give you a program, whether it be helping out in a community service issue or even just running the basic core like organizing a color guard or a saber team. And then we're going to give you money because sometimes you need to, buy some poster board or some paint or go out and buy the food for the hot dog sale. So you get to learn how to manage all three. And so those juniors and seniors, I've always felt like they're a step above their peers because they experience things that a regular high school student doesn't get to experience.
And other extracurricular programs that are also so worthy, the orchestra and the band and athletic teams, aren't by and large doing one of the things JROTC does more than most extracurricular is all these hundreds of hours of community service. And I think that is one of the benefits of being in JROTC. Another thing you all spend so much time on is developing their leadership skills. And they literally move up in rank, don't they?
Yes, ma'am.
And by their senior year, those who are in leadership roles truly know how to do it. When one of their peers, talk a little bit about that, when one of the students might have made a poor choice or isn't doing as well in grades, it isn't so much adults that handle it. Talk a little bit about that, Regina.
I'm glad you mentioned that because we just finished Summer Leadership School, which is a 1 week in residence where the cadets who are really interested in moving on to leadership positions where they get the people programs and money, they spend an entire week dedicating themselves to learning some personal discipline. And I've had a student who went into the military and she was being interviewed for a high-level job, and they said, well, what's going to happen if, one of your airmen comes to you and says, I'm pregnant, or I've used drugs, or, their parents are getting divorced or whatever. And she said, all of that's going to be easy for me because I've been talking to students the whole time I've been in high school in my leadership position in ROTC. And she said, and I've dealt with all of that. I've dealt with everything that high school has to deal with. They talk to the students first, and then they come to us if they can't figure out how to help each other.
I don't know where else they get that to that degree, because it's not a one-time situation. It's when you have 150 plus at each of your schools in your programs, some young person is not getting the job done or making poor choices. Sometimes it's just not turning in their work. I don't mean to ever imply that they're doing criminal things, but just not taking care of business. And to have peers work that out with them is far better than if we have to take care of it.
Their peers will they'll come in and say, XYZ, we saw them, performing PDA, and, we like that taken care of. And then there's a cadet review
Public
board.
display of affection.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
They like to, they're proud of being in uniform, and they're proud of being cadets in the Corps, and they want their peers to behave appropriately. So I've noticed if their peers do anything that disrespects the uniform, they want it stopped. And if they can't stop it, then they'll come to us, and they expect behavior to be taken care of.
And unlike in the rest of the population of young people, they've got to learn how to help that young person in a healthy, appropriate way, besides maybe taking them behind the behind the building and whooping them. They have to learn that sometimes it's an investment in time to be able to reason. I just thoroughly enjoy hearing their side of why this is so important, and their pride in being able to help a younger student learn better decision-making skills. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you have come from camp and you took your mainly your leaders, is that right?
Who, well, you know, what we did is we had 4 students from ASU who supervised our cadet leaders who supervised the new cadets coming up. So it was an entirely cadet-run operation where we just supervised the supervisors, ran the schedule.
Who don't need much supervision.
No, the ASU students don't.
But we
they knew
have to
exactly
be.
what they were doing.
We still have to. We still have adult presence, and both of you have 2 each wonderful staff, adult staff that make up your team. Because one person can't be in charge of 150 young people and watch them and do. Be what you need to be. And that's another thing we're so blessed with in San Angelo at both our high schools, the team of sergeants that work with you all to lead these young people. And it's serious business. They know how to do it.
They do.
They're a pleasure to watch, all of you all with these young people. All right, what is something this coming year, either of you, that you're especially looking forward to? Because the young people are back, and well, yours are going to be here next week, some of them to help with convocation, and then, but then students start in a couple of weeks. So what's something you're hopeful for this school year?
Well, I'm hoping to see the kids that I've seen a couple of them over the summer at a couple different events. And they were our top guys coming back, guys and gals. And they're going to be our senior leaders. So I'm hoping to see them instill what I already see in them in the younger freshmen. That's what I want to see. I want to see more of the freshmen stepping up. Or first year ROTC, because first year ROTC doesn't have to be a 9th grader. They can be a 10th grader or 11th grader or even a 12th grader, which I think is probably kind of rare. But it does happen. So I hope to see them instilling what we're teaching them down to the younger folks, because as Major Harris was saying, it is a student-run corps with us teaching them how to do that, and then they actually go do it, as you say. Whereas in the other classrooms, they're not actually put in those leadership positions where they have to take responsibility and accountability for other students, which I think is just amazing.
It is amazing, and they rise to the occasion.
They do. We start tonight, in fact. Lakeview has freshman orientation, and we've got 15 cadets coming out to give tours and to greet. And this will be the first time that our senior staff is orchestrating a program. So they see they've got their people and they've got their program, and they get to perform. And so far, they've been very organized, and they're texting me and emailing me, and it's really exciting to see them so organized and ready to go. I can't wait to get there this evening and see how they do.
So there's a lot of confidence being placed in them to lead other and model for other young people.
Definitely.
I just think that is a beautiful thing to behold. You can't buy that.
No, ma'am.
You did compete. Some people may not realize that, in multiple different kinds of competitions, and do well. And tell me some of, since you've been doing it now a decade and a half.
Oh.
Tell us some of the competitions that your young people compete in.
Our major competition last year was Cyber Patriot, and we're competing with Cyber Patriots again. In fact, it starts September the 12th. But that's where we have our 10 cadets who are competing internationally to defend a computer against cyber attacks. And they get together and determine how the best way is to do that. And they only have 6 hours to do it. And it's 6 straight hours, so it's a tough competition. And the second competition that we don't compete anywhere near as much as Central, but our second competition that we truly enjoy is the Angelo State's drill meet. They have a fitness portion and the color guard competition, and for us, we work really hard all year to try to compete in that. And the fitness competition is co-ed teams, and the color guard can be a male team, a female team, or co-ed. So we enjoy those competitions every year.
Do young people try out for those teams? Because all of your students don't compete on a team, do they?
No, ma'am.
I didn't think so. Is it more upperclassmen, or does it matter?
It's that's it. Last year the Cyber Patriot team was mostly freshmen. In fact, it was all freshmen, 1 sophomore and 1 senior. All of those freshmen are coming back, and they're drawing in some more freshmen, so it'll be all sophomores and some freshmen. But they do. It's not necessarily for Cyber Patriot competition as much as you have to keep your grades up and you have to stay prepared. If you get in the room and you can't contribute something to the defense of that computer, then eventually they're going to ask you not to come back. As far as the color guard and the fitness, they do compete. Who's the fastest? Who has the longest endurance? But once again, it's grades, because even though technically we're not under the UIL umbrella, we hold that over everyone. If you're failing, you can't compete, you can't participate. So everyone's got to pass their classes and do well enough so that they can spend time practicing. That's tough.
Because you all do that not just within the school day.
No, ma'am. No, after school, the STEP team doesn't compete, but they practice on the weekends. They go to someone's house. They're after school. There's a lot of after school if you're on a team, and if your grades aren't holding, then you can't be on a team.
I want to go back to the community service aspect of what you do, because that is a broad umbrella, and I want to be specific. Both of your organizations really do over 3,000 hours. That is a lot of clock hours. You mentioned earlier, Regina, that it was a lot of color guards. Talk to me a little bit about that.
We generally do about 35 community color guards per year. We get invited to Robert Lee, Howard, elementary schools. People need a color guard, we try to be there. And so those 5 cadets, because, actually it's 6, because we're carrying the POW MIA flag as well. Those 6 cadets have to practice and then transport out, perform, transport back. And so that's quite a few community service hours for us.
Then I know you lead blood drives and do amazing things with that. Why is that a big deal?
I've always been surprised how Lakeview goes at the blood drive. I mean, we say blood drive, people flock to sign up, and they always say it's because I know someone who needed blood, or my uncle needed blood, or the football players come in and they give platelets, which is double the amount, and it's amazing. So we do one day blood drive in the fall, and then in the spring we do a 2-day blood drive. And I've been told by Miss Grace, who's in charge of United Blood Services here, that we're one of the top schools for donating blood in West Texas.
She's told me the same, and I know at y'all's graduation, the young people who had donated a certain amount got to wear an extra cord. If they not only learn to do how good it feels to do community service as a young person, the likelihood is they will continue that through other avenues once they get out. But giving blood is a marvelous lifelong contribution to our world. So what else? I see your cadets working at fundraisers for United Way and other organizations in our community that have fundraisers. Your young people are there and work hard.
We do the Taste of San Angelo, which is the 10th of September this year. We also do the rodeo. We help the Rodeo Association out by putting together the programs and helping sell those. We always have a food drive for Concho Valley Food Bank, and we have a clothing drive for Russ Ministries. And also we keep a clothing closet at our school because sometimes people just need clothes. I mean, things happen and you need something to wear. We have the Cinderella closet. I know that doesn't sound like community service, but
yes, it is too. Tell our audience what that means.
Well, when it's time for the military ball or the prom, instead of having your parents go out and spend $150, $200 on a dress, you can get a dress for free in the Cinderella closet, and then your parents can maybe spend a lot less money than that for the shoes and jewelry that go with the dress, and that really helps the parents out.
That is a very worthwhile thing, and then not having a dress isn't a reason to not participate.
Exactly.
And breaks my heart whenever that happens. Major Carney, you being your first year as a JROTC, is it a commander? Is that what are y'all? Are you the commanders?
Our title is really, we are the Senior Aerospace Science Instructors.
Okay, instructor. You clearly put a lot of thought into coming into this at this stage of your life. Some people go home and sit in front of the TV when they've retired. What compelled you the most to do that, since you've so recently made that decision?
It compelled me the most, I think, is the kids, the future of the kids. I just look at it. I taught at Goodfellow for about 7 years, so I've seen the kids that are a couple years older. So now I'm getting ones that are going to be a couple years younger than those, and I think you can mold them at these ages and help them to realize, hey, I can do that. And maybe all their life, all they've ever heard is, you're not going to amount to anything, or you can't do that. And I'm not all the kids, but there are some that's all they've heard. And then there are others who are already excelling, and I think you just need to tell all of them, you can go one step beyond what you're doing, or 2 steps, and keep just adding to that. Obviously, if your performance is down here, it's not going to be up here tomorrow. But you can move it up a little bit over the next week, and by the end of the year, move it up to here, and then the next year, move it up a little bit more, so that when you do get out of school, hopefully you'll continue on your education and go on into college. But if not, you're going to have a work ethic that will allow you to exceed at whatever you decide to do in life. And I think that's what, as ROTC instructors and as teachers in general, what happens in the schools.
Well, we need for you to love what you do. I think it's so obvious, those of us like Major Harris and I who've been in this business, the young people business, for so many years, it's obvious those who are passionate and enjoy young people, even on their ornery days, because adults have ornery days as well. We welcome you to our city and to a great profession. I hope that you stick with it and love it as much in 16 more years as Major Harris, don't we?
We do.
We do that.
We do.
I mean that because when you cross Major Harris's path, it's obvious she enjoys doing what she's doing. I enjoy doing what I do, and I can already tell you are too. You have a great sense of humor, and so this time next year when we're interviewing, you will have stories to tell us, won't he, ma'am?
Oh, definitely. I think his stories have started.
His stories have
Looking forward to
started.
I
that.
think so.
Well, that's a date then. We will reconvene after he has some months under his belt, and he can sit here and we will go, yep, we knew it. And it'll be a great thing. You're going to love being here with our young people.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you for choosing us.
Thank you for choosing me.
Thank you for having us.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you. My
Thank you,
two
ma'am.
majors. Thank y'all.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.